The beautiful spring and summer weather is fast approaching and it's got us excited for some sunny days on the bike. But there are 5 road bikes that are tickling our pickle. From an endurance bike that looks like it might put Cannondale back on the map, to a bike that I might have to sell my Specialized to buy. But I'll start with some very good prices that honestly you won't believe. It looks like Cube wants to muscle its way to a bigger market share of the road bike market. Its Agree C62 with a full Ultegra Di2 group set and Newman 50mm carbon wheels costs £3,299. That's the same price as the mechanical Dura Ace build from 2016, which is brilliant. Let's not forget that bike prices across the industry rocketed through the COVID years, and most brands hiked their prices to levels that meant most of us couldn't even consider buying a new bike. But to me, it looks as though Cube is listening to the market. Look lower down the Agree price ladder and you've got a 105 Di2 bike, again with full carbon wheels for just £2,799. Or how about the endurance-focused Attain? That's £2,500 for the 105 Di2 build. And again, you're getting carbon wheels. If you prefer mechanical shifting, the bike is just £1,700. Yes, that is still a lot of money to spend, but at least you're getting a good deal for your money. So, how are Cube doing it? How are they being so aggressive on their prices? Well, it turns out that no one really knows. Everyone in the industry that we've spoken to about it has no idea. But maybe it'll be the trigger for other brands to bring their prices down. Wishful thinking or a distinct possibility? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to keep a new bike hidden, don't send it to Lachlan Morton for a lap of Australia. Chances are lots of photos will be taken. But then again, it's a good proving ground for an endurance bike. Cannondale's last Synapse missed the mark for many, focusing too much on built-in tech that never really took off. This one though looks very different. The seat stays look even more dropped than they were before, while the top tube, well, it slopes down more too. It could be accentuated by Morton, a world tour professional turned adventure rider for EF, riding a smaller frame than might be recommended. Pros often do this to run a super long stem and get their long and low ride positions. Whatever the case, Cannondale looks to have slimmed down the tubes around the seat post, making us think that the weight and rear end comfort are priorities for their new bike. Move towards the front of the bike, however, and those tube shapes look suspiciously like aero-optimized ones to me. I'm actually seeing a lot of what Giant did with its latest Defy. Now, they took a bike back to what made it popular with so many of you riders. Lightweight, good tyre clearance, and a sporty geometry. Whatever happens, we can't wait to ride the new Synapse as soon as we get our mitts on it. Scott's latest Addict RC is another that we're very keen to get in for review. In fact, I think one is due to land at BikeRadar HQ kind of any day now, which is exciting. The reason that this new Addict has got us talking is the reason for its claimed 5.9 kilo weight, but it's also something that you can't see. So Scott has apparently used its inflatable polypropylene mandrel technology to bring the weight down. And yes, it did take me a few goes to say that. This involves wrapping carbon fiber around the inflatable mandrels before deflating them and removing them. It apparently leaves behind a very smooth interior, free of unnecessary resin or material. Scott already uses this production technology on its e-mountain bikes and the Scott Foil RC, which launched in 2022. But they've refined manufacturing technique for the latest Addict, so it could be used for the bike's fork, which it claims is the lightest on the market at 270 grams with an uncut steerer. Now, racers like Pidcock will have to stick to the UCI's 6.8 kilo weight limit, but unless you're racing, you and I are not bound by the same shackles. So, this is lighter than my Athos, boasts more aero tube shapes that apparently make it only 9 watts slower than the Foil. It also has an integrated front end, which I know some of you absolutely love. So I might just have to sell my Athos, but should I? Again, let me know in the comments. Pogačar has a new race bike, and when the world champion is about to get faster, it leaves us feeling that this bike it's probably worth swinging a leg over. Colnago claimed that the new aero bike is 20 watts faster than the V4RS at 50 km/h and 0 degrees yaw, though Colnago's own testing saw an advantage of just 1 watt over what they cryptically called the best competitor. What that bike was? Well, they wouldn't tell me. The team is set to continue using the V4RS in the mountains. That's because while the bike might be faster, it's also heavier, a claimed 7.45 kilos in a team build with the pedals and the cages. Now, other brands have done just a bit better at slimming down their aero offerings. Giant, for example, claims that the Propel of Jayco Alula sits at just 6.8 kilos without pedals. But weight isn't the point of an aero bike, it's all about speed. The data from Colnago's wind tunnel testing suggests the deep profiles might act as sails in crosswinds. While drag increases from 0 to 5 degrees yaw, it then declines through the 7.5 and 10 degree measurements. Colnago told me its designers look to take full advantage of the UCI's revised tube shape rules. This changed in late 2022 from a depth to width ratio of 3:1 to 8:1, enabling brands to make tubes much deeper while retaining narrow widths. The front end sees Colnago employ a dual-pronged aerodynamic strategy, featuring a hinged head tube design reminiscent of the Cervelo S5. Complementing this is the CCY1, a newly designed integrated cockpit with a distinctive split stem configuration. Its angular kind of gull-winged profile is purposeful, although Colnago has not provided specific drag reduction figures for this setup. But how do all of these features translate on the road? Well, we can't wait to find out. So it's obviously going to be at the forefront of a load of World Tour races, so that's why it makes the list. I'll finish with a bike which we know very little about, but this is probably a major industry disruptor, so it definitely had to go in. It's hard for smaller brands to muscle their way into the big leagues of World Tour sponsorship, so to see a relatively unknown brand getting their products onto the biggest stage is absolutely brilliant. X-Lab for the XDS brand is what S-Works is for Specialized. It's their top level stuff. Like with lots of bike brands out of East Asia, I want to tell you that the XDS X-Lab AD9 is going to be an affordable superbike that you and I could actually realistically own if we saved our pennies. But remember when I said that we know very little about the bike? Yeah, we don't even have a price yet, which is a little bit annoying. In terms of Astana's setup, they're largely on what they used last year. That means a suite of vision components with the brand providing its Metron wheels and cockpit. The Astana team buys in its Shimano Dura Ace group sets, and while the riders now seem to be running Continental's GP5000S TR tyres, there were photos floating around earlier in the year featuring Vittoria tyres. So that might be a late sponsorship change. A Pro logo saddle and matching bar tape complete a bike that we're going to try very hard to get in for review. So which bike is your favourite here? Or let me know why I got the list wrong. And if you want to check out Pogacar's new race bike, that's just up here. Worth it.